Hi, welcome to Scofield Farm. I'm Carice and we are located up in Northern California, just outside the second sunniest city in the US. We have a little family farm on 3.5 acres. You can hear my roosters in the background because I have a lot of roosters. And I am going to give you an August garden tour today because we are at the very end of August and I had committed to do a garden tour at least once a month because we year-round garden. So we're squeezing this one at the tail end of August so you can see how things have changed around here. So I'm going to try to compete with the roosters in showing you the garden right now. We are going to start with a bed that has changed a lot over the season. This is my sweet potato bed. We took a break from growing tomatoes here this year. We let it be basically overtaken by sweet potatoes, and I'm growing beans up the middle of it. We have some sage, we have some cucumbers at the end, a volunteer sunflower. Let me show you how that looks. Here is a sweet potato bed. We have cosmos, we have some blooming radishes, we have some beautiful bean. Oh, look at this. Even blooming. Beautiful beans vining up. These are some different pole beans. I do not remember which variety that is because I planted 2 different heirloom varieties from my friend Kelly in the Traw on Instagram. And I don't know which one came up because one of them did not come up. These are some more beans that are vining up. I have them all on this side of the bed. Oh goodness. Some cucumber plants that are grabbing a hold of this beautiful dill. And we have cucumbers here. It is our second round of cucumbers. We had to pull our other bed of cucumbers because the spider mites and the aphids just absolutely took over. But this one is doing good, and we might even find a cucumber or 2. So I've got some harvesting to do here, but this is our younger cucumber plant. I highly recommend, if you live in an area like ours, to do this where you have cucumbers 2 different times at least. You succession sow them because you'll avoid the bugs that way. Over here, we have our monstrous sage. I am trying to make plans of what to do about this thing. We have 2 of them, one in this garden bed, one in another garden bed. I have to decide our plans. Over here, if you remember, we had sunflowers planted the entire walkway on every fence of the garden. I am very pleased with how that went. I love sunflowers. This side on the west side actually strangely did the worst of all of my sunflowers, but it still had some. I'm hoping we have volunteers come up on that fence line because they always do better as volunteers. They're always hardier as sunflowers, stronger, deeper tap roots to get water even in a very dry summer location. Let me show you the next bed that also has sage in it and show you how this bed has changed. Now this bed also has a giant sage, and I was just debating today if I should just pull this sage completely this fall. And I haven't decided yet. I get super attached to plants, but since I have one over there as well, I don't really need 2 gigantic sage bushes that are taking up so much prime real estate. I have our tomatoes still down the middle of this bed. These are all different heirlooms. Now, these are usually slower to produce tomatoes because heirlooms sometimes struggle around here with our heat. But things are about to cool off. I think they should do a bit better. I still have a little bit of celery left in here. We still have our chives going wild. We have chives year-round growing wild around here. We have basil. We have chard. This is where I took out the prior cucumbers that were really productive, but they got overrun by pests. And we've got a couple of our tomatoes left. This one did not do well, and I'm going to say its life is over. We tried them in nursery pots because we had so many extra. So that was honestly bonus. I wasn't counting on fruit from those. To have any live was a good thing. More basil, more cosmos, more herbs. We love it. And I'm already thinking, how do I want to change this bed for them? I was spending time today at a coffee shop and I was trying to make some plans of where I would lay out things for this garden for the fall. I am making some changes from last year. Those who followed along with me over on Instagram, I have posted a lot in the past about how I lay out my different fall beds, my summer beds, our winter, how we do things year round. And I'm making some changes this year. So I'm pretty excited about kind of mixing things up, moving where things are. But one thing that's never gonna move are my strawberries, because my strawberries get an entire 4 by 12 foot bed. That is 48 square feet of prime real estate, because we love strawberries. These are everbearing. They actually are just starting to put on some more fruit. They have been known to have a few berries at a time, even through the winter. So they look pretty beat up from the really hot 113-degree days. Now that things are going to cool off to the 90s and 80s for a little bit, I have a feeling they're going to put on a lot more fruit and they're going to green up. In fact, I could do some pruning of them and taking dead stuff off if I had time, but I don't. If you enjoy our videos, I know I'm like speed talking, speed touring right now, but if you enjoy our videos, could you take just 1 second and go ahead and like this video? If you aren't subscribed, I would be so honored if you would subscribe to our channel. Next bed. All right, so this guy, I don't know if you remember, if you look way back, we had put a tomato in this hexagonal, is it hexagonal? It's octagonal pot that did not do well. So I took a volunteer, what would you call it? Not a volunteer. I took a sucker from another plant and I stuck it in here, and I wish I would remember what plant I took it from, but look at it. It is getting blossoms. It is doing pretty well. And I guess we will find out which plant I actually took this from as soon as we get fruit. This, my friends, is a hibiscus. Just one humongous Jamaican hibiscus. My sweet husband grew up in Guatemala. He grew up drinking what they called Rose de Jamaica as a special drink, and it was made with hibiscus. And here we find out years and years later, this is the plant. So this is my second year growing it. I have been harvesting from it. Not yet, last year I did, but harvesting the little, what are they called? They're like almost like the rose hip of this flower, and drying them. And I think between my harvest last year and this year, I should be able to make him his favorite drink. And it's so fun after being married 21 years to be able to do something special for him that he has missed from his childhood. The next bed I'm going to show you is my cherry tomato bed. This is my cherry tomato bed. It is wild. Now, I have not got as many cherry tomatoes as last year by any means, but look at all the green tomatoes. There are a ton of green tomatoes. I think that I will get a very good late harvest of them. They are super, super tall, super wild and crazy. I basically gave up on tying them. I did prune some dead stuff off the lower parts the other day just to try to help the health of them, but guys, they're growing down towards the ground because I have not propped them up properly. Maybe I will get time to kind of tie a couple of these to the corners, but I'm not holding my breath because it has been a crazy time of year. As all of you understand, anybody who has kids knows start of the school year is crazy, and those who homeschool like me know it feels almost crazier than when my kids were in traditional school. So this bed is got full of all different cherry tomatoes. It also has gorgeous, gorgeous basils. This is my Thai basil. I cannot even believe how beautiful it is. I need to do a big harvest because I really haven't harvested barely any of it, but look at it. It's just an enormous plant. I think that is all just one plant. These, I believe, are some onions coming up that, well, that's interesting. I've got leeks growing here and other kinds of basils. That is a mammoth basil back there. We have sweet alyssum. This one is called purple carpet. It is honestly just lovely. I don't even think this video can show you how lovely it actually is. And we have, what else? We just have, look at, look at this Thai basil. Oh my gosh. I wish I could accurately show you how huge and how beautiful, but it is propping up tomatoes that are falling over. And yet the zinnia have decided not to stay in the bed, but to be in my path. They have joined with the sunflowers, and I am having the hardest time walking in my paths because I have created a bit of a jungle. I'm not complaining. I actually love the jungle. All right, just gotta take a second to grab one sun gold because I'm terrible at favorites, guys, but I have to say I think sun gold really are my favorite cherry tomato. You know, when I live someplace that's so dry and so hot, it is kind of nice to have a green and pink and yellow and colorful jungle of a garden because it's a bit of an oasis from a lot of dry, dead looking land. And if you're in Northern California or even any part of California, you know what I'm talking about. It is an oasis. And so that is part of why it's hard for me to even deal with the flowers taking over the garden paths. I'm like, yes, such an oasis. Yes, I love it. I really love it. And I am kind of a messy artistic person, so I don't think it bothers me as much as someone who might be a little more type A and neat and tidy. I kind of love the splash of color all over the page. Really fast, before we leave this bed, I wanted to show you, these of course are leeks. This is Tulsi basil, but this right here is a tomato plant that I transplanted from my cousin. If you remember, I had several plants die. I went and grabbed some of her overgrown starts. This one I believe was called accordion orange maybe, and it's growing pretty well. It is, let's see, about that tall. And does it have any blossoms? I don't know. I don't see blossoms, but I have a feeling with the temps cooling off, it's gonna give me some good fruit to taste and try. So I'm very happy with the fact that I decided to plant this one. This is my favorite time in the garden. This is like the hour that's traditionally the hottest hour of the day where we live. And it is the hour that my garden is shaded by a giant gray pine. We purposely set our garden here on our property to take advantage of that shade. It is a permaculture idea to use existing plants to benefit other plants you grow. And we have not regretted it for one moment. If you have a new place where you're laying out a new garden, consider the plants that are growing around it, consider the trees, take advantage of shade, put things where maybe it would help versus having to get a shade cloth, because it's been very, very beneficial for us. And we haven't had to spend the big bucks on a shade cloth or anything like a lot of people in our area have to, because it is brutal around 5 o'clock here. Well, really all afternoon, but 5 to 6 p.m. is traditionally the very hottest part of the day. Now, this is my hot pepper bed. We have a couple eggplant and they are getting a really nice size. I've already harvested a little bit off of them. Not a lot, but you do see blossoms, so there will be more eggplant. I always get more in the fall than I do in the summer. We have zinnia all over this bed. I am so happy about that. I love zinnia. They are my favorite flower to make arrangements with. I give them to anybody who I feel like needs a brightened day. I give zinnia arrangements all the time. If you were part of my pepper harvesting video, you will recognize this is one of my cayenne plants, and it already has more red peppers. I already need to come back out here and harvest more of these wonderful, wonderful peppers. Oh my goodness, it is such a blessing that they are doing so well this year. I really, really love peppers. Look at that. Look at all of those Thai dragon, and I just already picked all of the red ones off, so they are turning quickly. my favorite snacking, eating, what I call it snacking? I don't know. Just casual pepper is Sugar Rush Peach. They are about to turn peach. The plants are loaded and like literally they're laying over, but I was waiting for them to get to about this color right here. So I do need to harvest some of those. You can see an old coffee cup, iced coffee cup here from a local coffee shop that is waiting to be filled with peppers. I have more peppers over there, but I do have over here my cantaloupe, and here is one so close to being harvested. The girls ask me every day if it's ready. Not quite ready, that one. Whew, I'm gonna trip. More zinnia, more flowers. We've got cosmos and zinnia, and we have my shadow. But we have so many beautiful, beautiful jungly flowers here. We have a random tomato I stuck in the corner here that is not looking super healthy anymore, but it does have some fresh green growth. It does have blossoms. It's a Sartreloise. I really like Sartreloise. They've actually been fairly productive for me. Oh goodness, they don't want to focus. But I think that I will get more fruit from this plant, even though it is quite yucky looking on the bottom. You can see that dead space. But we've got lots of flowers. I do need to make a big harvest of flowers for bouquets. You are seeing the backside of another one of my arch trellises, the backside of yet another one. This is the area, guys, that I actually saw a monarch butterfly a couple nights ago, and I absolutely freaked out in the very best way. I freaked out because I didn't know where my phone was. I wanted to document it. I have never seen a monarch in my garden. I did not plant anything specifically for monarchs, and yet it came for these beautiful pink zinnia. You know what, maybe it will show up tonight. It was around this time of night, 3 nights ago, and anyway, I am like so excited to see it again. I hope it comes back. What an honor to host a monarch in my garden. I know some of you might think that's cheesy, but I really love butterflies. They have a deep special meaning to me, and it's one of the ways God speaks to me, so I was super excited. Now this bed, I can't wait to show you because I have completely changed what's in this bed for the fall. This bed was all squash. Similar to this, we had zucchini, Max's gold squashes all the way down. There's a couple that are still alive. We had a lot of different winter squash like pumpkins and what else did we have? We had acorn squash growing up these trellises, but I actually ended up planting tons of bush beans in here. The bed is pretty much overtaken with bush beans now, and I just started harvesting some beans, which is super exciting. Let's see if we can find any in here right now. They hide really well, and let's see. I'm just so excited because, guys, here's the deal. Whenever I've planted beans early in the late spring, early summer, they basically just get attacked by pests, but they aren't fruitful for me. They're always fruitful later in the year, more like right now. So I tried to time it this year. I'm not finding any for you, but I tried to time it this year so that I would have them putting on flowers right when they're most fruitful. These chickens, I'm sorry, I gotta do there's a squirrel kind of ADD comment, but look, these chickens, they think I'm gonna feed them. This is Sam. He likes to make an appearance in every one of my videos, and he is my top rooster, and he thinks, one, he thinks he's gonna challenge me. Two, he wants me to feed him chard. That is why he's here. But going back to my garden, I timed it perfectly this year. I'm going to do this again and again. From now on, I'm going to do this where as squash and different things die and are pulled out, I am going to plant bush beans and let them be the star of the show for early fall. We have lots of parsley. Isn't that lovely? I mean, come on. I gotta think of some ways to use it. If you guys love parsley and have some really good recipes for parsley, leave me ideas in the comments, because I don't want to let this gorgeous stuff go to waste, and I don't use fresh parsley a lot. I just don't. If you have anything to add, recipes for parsley, questions, comments, do you grow beans in the fall versus the summertime? I'd love to hear from you in the comments, because the more you interact, the more I get to know you, and it helps other people who would enjoy our content find our channel. So thank you for taking a second to do that. Let's go back to the garden, and I want to show you some more really cool things right now in our very, very end of August garden tour. You guys, do you see that? That is a beautiful white Cinderella pumpkin growing at the very bottom of my arch trellis. Last year, we had orange Cinderella pumpkins dangling from the top. I tried to recreate that moment. It didn't happen. However, I did get a lot of beauty, because look over there. Do you see what's dangling from over there? We have spaghetti squash dangling on one of the most beautiful trellis areas I have ever had. I want to give a closer look to you. We have more Cinderella pumpkins here, like right there. We have, I think, another one hiding over here. So we're doing fine on pumpkins right now. More beans, but when you look up here, we have so many spaghetti squash. They are doing so much better than last year. Last year, they were one of my squash to die early for whatever reason, but this year they are doing amazing. We also have loofah vines. Now, maybe somebody could tell me in the comments why my loofah aren't flowering. I don't see any flowers on my loofah. I don't have any fruit, but I have a couple very healthy plants with so much vining. I mean, do you see that? So much vining. But any fruit you see is actually spaghetti squash. So if you have any advice for me, I would gladly take it. It is a gorgeous area of our garden, just no loofah. I'm walking backwards through my last arch trellis, and from this one, there are hanging one of my favorite things to grow, butternut squash. We eat so much winter squash, guys. We are those people who eat decor pumpkins. We are those people who eat winter squash all winter long. It is like gold to me to have them grow in my garden, and they are doing absolutely beautifully this year. I am so pleased. There are so many, all different stages, and we've got a long enough season that even the little ones will have time to ripen. I am very happy with how this is going. Very happy. There is another cantaloupe. We have a few more kind of camouflaged in. Oh my goodness. Look at that one. And we have time for that one to get all the way to a mature stage. We've got a long growing season. It is one of the blessings of living here. Even with crazy heat, we can grow for a very, very long time. And a lot of our garden, crunch, 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 you're gonna hear me crunch on those sunflower leaves. A lot of our garden really starts to show off in the fall. Now, that, I'm gonna sit down for a second. That is if it makes it to the fall. We have such pest pressure, and I think they're different pests than a lot of you are used to. We have tons of aphids. I know other people have aphids, but I was just talking to a friend of mine who is from South Carolina, and she was actually surprised to see this honeydew sticky substance that the aphids out here leave on plants. It is all over plants. I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a second on my pepper plants. I guess, which I didn't know, other parts of the country, when you have aphids, you don't always have the honeydew-like sticky substance. Could you also let me know that in the comments? Do you get a sticky substance on your leaves of your plants with aphids, or do you not? Because I don't know if that's just a California thing, a West Coast thing, you know, but I know several people in our area that do. So I know it's at least our area. But A lot of times the plants don't do well and I have to pull them before the fall, but if they make it, the fall is when we get a reward. That's when we get our bumper crop of tomatoes. That's when we get huge harvests of peppers. That's when we get a lot of winter squash, as long as we can keep the garden alive through the hottest parts of the year, which for us, July and August are traditionally scorchers. I am talking about one year, I think we had something like 27 triple-digit days in a row. So it is hard to get them through July and August, but often September and October is when we will really get rewarded from the summer crops in our garden. And that's the same time we're trying to figure out how to, gracefully transition our gardens into more of a fall, winter, cool garden thing. And that is why I feel so grateful that I have transitioned a couple beds into having beans grow, because that's more of a fall season veggie for us. And then haven't started my brassicas inside. I'm going to do it very soon. I'm actually delayed on that because we had no air conditioner in our house for 2.5 weeks. It would have been way too hot for brassicas to germinate. So it's just this year, the timing is starting them later. But I already started onion seeds and lettuce seeds, and those are all sprouting. It's about time for me to actually move the lettuce into their own cups. But I really think that this is going to be a really good harvest this fall. That is what I'm feeling. You will find out with me. We'll find out together. Now right here are 3 cute little pumpkins that I have harvested. Aren't they absolutely adorable? They're not that huge, but they will be fun to decorate with. And of course, we always eat our pumpkins. Okay guys, over here, I'm gonna show you some of the aphid issue. Do you see this dill? I'm hoping that it's focusing for you. This dill has got a lot of aphids. And can you see the sticky? I'm looking to see if you can see the sticky on this one. I don't know if you can see it on this one, but I will show you on some of the pepper leaves. Let's find some aphids on peppers for you to see the sticky substance. It's something else. We do have, though, a lot of peppers in here. I haven't harvested yet. This is a great one. Look at that. That is an ancho. I want to make some chili powder with these anchos. I am purposely letting some of them ripen to red. You hear the crunching leaves. I usually harvest all of those green. That's where I usually use them fresh. More paprika. And I am here searching. Oh my goodness. I have so many bells that are just now turning red. This is called Red Yellow Wonder Bell Pepper, and it is a wonderful one. One year I did the funniest thing. It was, I want to say 2020, when there were all those seed shortages, and I ordered the big pack, right? The jumbo pack of red yellow bell peppers because I wanted a lot of bell peppers. I did not look to see what the number of seeds were in that pack, and that pack was like, oh goodness, I want to say it was like 2,500 or 5,000 seeds of peppers. Like, you don't need that many pepper seeds. I will never in my lifetime use 5,000 red yellow pepper seeds. So I shared with my local community. I put them in little bags and sold them for $1 a piece just to take the time of my Ziploc bags and stuff. But I also that year I ordered 25,000 butternut squash. Now this was a midnight purchase. I do not recommend shopping for seeds at midnight, because you never know what will be shipped. I think I thought that the lettuce seeds were 2,500, but when they arrived, they were actually 25,000. So we joked we could have planted our entire 3.5 acres as just a lettuce farm if we wanted to. And that would have been hilarious. It would have been hilarious. Okay, I found the sticky substance for you. Let me show you what these aphids do here. Okay, I'm hoping that this is focusing for you. The lighting of the sun is making it hard for me to tell. But this leaf is full of aphids. Full of aphids. Look at the top of these leaves. Do you see there's kind of like a shimmer, a sheen to them? That is the sticky substance. And it literally, if you touch it, it's sticky. That is from the aphids. They leave behind this substance. And oh, gross. I'm going to have to spray this plant off when we're done with the tour. because that is just gross. It is on my buds. But what it does is the ants love that sticky substance. It's like sugary, and it's them pulling out the sugars from the plant. And the ants will farm the aphids so that the ants can come eat that sugary substance. So if you see ants in your garden, ants are not actually the pest. It probably means that there are aphids in your garden. My goodness. I don't usually get this much on my peppers, but it has been very hot. And so the aphids, they really take advantage. Real gross. It looks like pepper. It looks like I actually shook black pepper onto my plant. That is what it looks like. But if you look at my finger, there's actually sugary, sticky grossness on it. That's just so gross. Over here is my potato bed. Now, I'm a little disappointed. I planted another round of potatoes all through here, and it has been so hot and dry, they have not come up. The potatoes you see, these are potatoes I planted a while back. This was like my second round of potatoes. I was supposed to have a third round of potatoes in here, but somehow, because I don't have this area on drip, somehow it got too dry. Even though I've been watering it, it got like, I don't know if it's officially hydrophobic, but it was acting like it was hydrophobic. I was watering and watering, and the soil was still dry. So I'm just curious, and you will find out with me. If you follow along with me, we will find out together if these potatoes will start to sprout once it gets cooler and the water really can absorb into the soil, or maybe when it starts raining, or if these potatoes that I had planted as my third round of potatoes, if they never come up. And I'm really curious. I am not sure. I don't have the answer. It's totally going to be an experiment. We will totally find out. But that is a disappointment in my garden. There's so many things I'm really happy about. This is one I'm a bit disappointed about, but every year is different. I've been researching, I've been learning, and I will figure out, hopefully I'll figure out, hopefully I will learn from my mistakes, and even just from climate issues and pest pressure, and be able to improve. That is the beauty of gardening, is that it is not static. It does not stay the same. Things always change, things are different. And even if something doesn't go right, you have another shot. You have another chance to research, to make changes, and to try again. So I'm very curious if these potatoes ever come up, and I don't actually know the answer. We will find out. I do have plans, however, to plant. I think I'm going to do a bunch of peas in this bed over the winter. That is my plan. Is it a good idea? I'm not sure. Oh my goodness, guys, but look at that. Look, very, 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 very tall. I have a sunflower in this bed just about to bloom. It is so high up there. And also, guys, different regions. Did you know that that is a eucalyptus tree? Did you know eucalyptus could get that big? I'm telling you, that's probably 80 feet, 60 to 80 feet in the air, in the sky. They get absolutely enormous here. These are my grapevines. I am allergic to grapes. My kids have been picking them and eating them as they feel like it. My chickens have been picking them and eating it as they feel like it. And I don't get to taste any of those delightful grapes because they will swell my mouth up like Botox gone wrong. That is my reaction to those grapes. All right, last place. Oh no, second to last place I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you these pots over here. We are growing purple pole beans in both these pots. I need to water them because they do not have drip, but they're doing pretty good. And they're about to just take over this little trellis area. Beautiful, right? And then I have my watermelon that did not do well this year. The only watermelons I've got were eaten by ground squirrels. And I am not going to grow them here again. I'm going to do something different. Even though they do have blossoms, they do have, some vining, I am not satisfied with how they've done. Maybe this self-watering pot just wasn't big enough for them. I don't know. But I'm going to change up my plans, do something different next time. Over here, I've got my asparagus. See all these little asparagus berries? I kind of want to make sure that they actually fall into the pots. And this is my asparagus beds. This is where I chose to have them. I did not have enough permanent room in my garden, so that is their permanent spot. And next year is the year we get a harvest, so I'm looking forward to that. Look at this. It's laying on the ground, but it is so pretty. Don't you think that sunflowers make everything so happy? I do. Okay, guys. So, gonna go to the last bed I'm gonna show you today. And it is over here. Oh wait, you gotta look at my echinacea first. So pretty. All right, the last bed I'm showing you also has wild and crazy zinnia. And it is mostly my paste tomato bed. The 3 paste tomatoes I have been most happy with are Roma, La Roma, and Martino's Roma. And those are the ones I will grow again next year. I'm gonna show you a couple that are hiding in there that are beautifully ripe. And you do see some pest damage, but not enough to ruin the fruit. So I like these. I'm happy. They have more green ones come in. They're doing great. As I said, they do have some pest stuff, but nothing that is keeping them from fruiting. These are beautiful. These are candy cane zinnia. They were not in my garden last year. They've been in my garden every other year besides last year. I'm so glad that I planted them again this year. And we've got some wild and crazy tomatoes over here. We have cascading sun gold. That's what I'm gonna call it, as if I meant to do it right. Cascading sun golds. And I have not got a huge harvest from them, just enough to snack, but it looks like we will have a better harvest this year. Can I get by this random tomato? I do not know. So they have taken over my path as well, just like everything else in this wild August garden. Whew. Here are my marigolds for the year. They were late to join the party, but they are now. They're now in my tomato bed. I usually have so many of these. These are called Sparky French marigolds. I usually have tons and tons and tons. I don't know what happened this year. This is it. But I have a feeling they're gonna get pretty big before we have our first frost. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining me. I know that was fast and furious and you hung with me, and hopefully you understood half of what I said. There's a lot of other places that we have different gardens, but I just wanted to focus on the veggie garden today and just show you how much it changed, because it is right now in such a time of change. I know in September when I show you, it'll probably look entirely different again. It is amazing how fast things change at this time of year. Thank you for joining me. I love having you with us. I love getting to share this with you. I hope that you are inspired to grow something you love, grow something beautiful, even if it's just one thing. Getting your hands in the dirt and growing things is so life-giving. Thank you, guys. I'll see you really soon.